Today we're going to talk about living your life as a game and the 99 Portal.
hmm Yeah. I thought those were good topics. Obviously the 99 portal is a little bit more relevant to the timing, since it's coming up soon. Uh, but yeah, I thought the living life as a game is a good kind of a viewpoint on how to look at reality, so it's less chaotic or less stressful.
So where do you want to start? Like,
Well, we can.
are we going to start with the 9, 9 September 9,
Mhm.
or do you want to start
No,
with living
probably.
your life as a
Yeah,
game?
I'd probably start with the game one just because we'll kind of get that over with. It's fairly quick topic-ish type stuff, and then we can move on to the 99 stuff that's a little bit more relevant. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And so yeah.
the scene
I
is
guess I'll begin.
yours. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, when talking about the living life as a game, there's multiple games that you can be referring to, like card games, board games, all that stuff. But I was a little bit more kind of focused on like video games because it's a little bit more interactive, more stimulation type of stuff. Like you're playing a character in a kind of made up world type of stuff. So if you don't really know video games that well, some of my stuff that I'm going to talk about might not connect. I don't know. um, but yeah, and so basically when I'm thinking about living life as a video game, I'm thinking of like when I first start up a game, especially if it's like a role playing game, an RPG, you kind of first build your character. You kind of, make your character. You kind of do different stats, different strengths and weaknesses, all that type of stuff. So you kind of make your character, choose it. And that's kind of what you did before incarnating into, your life, is that you kind of make up your character. You kind of set out goals for yourself. You set out, life themes, and who you're going to be around, the people that are going to be around, all that type of stuff. It's kind of already set, if you will, before you incarnate. Um, and so that's kind of like the beginning of it. Is yeah, you're kind of making your character when you first incarnate. And then yeah, you move into the actual playing of the game, and usually it starts off with like the tutorial, if you will, of like how to move your character, different abilities, different how to interact with your world, and that's kind of the beginning of your life as a baby. You're first kind of doing the tutorial mode of like, oh, how do I move? How do I interact? How do I do that type of stuff? So there's similarities with that. And then you kind of start with like the main quest, which in your life would be your main theme, the lessons that you're trying to learn. And so you go out with the quest. You either complete them or you don't, and if you don't, then there's probably quests or there's missions that later on in the video game that would accomplish the same thing. And so yeah, it's kind of the mindset of it. That was kind of the foundation of what I'm kind of coming at is quests, or basically that type of stuff. Um, so basically, the mindset is don't take it seriously because it is for fun. Like when you're playing a video game, you're not like it's not a you're not so into it that it's your life that you're um, what's the word like it's not too serious, because you can turn the game off anytime. You can save your progress. You can leave. You can come back. All that type of stuff. Therefore, you're playing a game to have entertainment, and therefore, when you're having this big life lesson or kind of big thing that's happening in your real life, the mindset I have is like, oh, it's a video game. Don't take it too seriously. Like you do have to interact with it. You do have to, do the quest and learn the lesson. But if you take it too seriously, it takes the defeats the point of you playing the game, of you living the life, kind of enjoying the experience. Um, and
It's
so
more
yeah,
like
that's kind of
looking at the event as an from a objective space to see
mhm.
oneself outside the character and just following what's happening. Is that what you mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you're kind of the third person looking at yourself from the camera's point of view, I feel,
Mm.
and seeing that, okay, yeah, I incarnated here. to have these life experiences and stuff like that. And technically, I'm going to go back to that other place eventually. Therefore, it's not a one and done situation anymore. Or, that's not the word I'm trying to look for. It's like, yeah, you don't want to take it so seriously that you forget the point of why you incarnated in the first place. You
Mm. It's kind of interesting to play with this thought, and I've heard it before. Someone said it's like the characters of Sims, and maybe you said it earlier. I
know?
had to raise the volume once again, but
Mhm,
you also mentioned that if you are playing it, and if it was a game, you can start all over again. But this is the real
mhm,
life. So if you are,
mhm,
but I would like to think that even if I mess up this character in the game, so to speak, the life, or the real event game,
mhm,
that I can go. Maybe I can't go back and correct it because everything is already placed in the session, but I can redo it and I can
mhm,
form a new end to the scene.
mhm. Yes,
Do you follow
definitely.
me?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, because there's a lot of life lessons that you might not learn this go around, if you will,
Mm,
and therefore those life lessons can be learned in the next incarnation. Even though reincarnation is not linear, everything's happening right now, but it's still kind of the same thing of like, oh, you didn't quite learn that lesson, or you didn't quite get to that point that you wanted to get to, and so you just do it the next time, which is kind of like just restarting the game. And you can also, restart the game as a different character and all that stuff. Yeah, you get to
yeah,
have
but
fun with it and play it.
I think even if the smaller events, because if we have to do everything again when we reincarnate, or if we are messing it up here, so we have to reincarnate. I mean, some of the things that we actually is playing out here, we can redo in the living time that we are in right now.
Mhm. Yeah,
Or
definitely. Yeah, it's kind of well, it'd basically be like you reload your last save. You know, so it's like if you mess up a mission, end game, you can kind of be like, oh, I messed that up. I'm gonna restart the mission over for my last save. And so it's like you kind of re-getting to do that lesson, but maybe in a different, in this life later on in the
yeah.
timeline. But yeah. Mhm.
And then another thought is following here that if I do that, uh, I may graduate from the experience, live throughout the
Mhm.
experience, but I have to reincarnate and do the karmic stuff that has messed up for everybody else around when I started over or messed up the mission from the first time. Well, that's an interesting thought.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I knew when I kind of brought up this topic there, it was a while ago, and because we've had, a break. And
Well,
so I know
sorry about
there's
that.
other stuff. No, it was both of us. Like it was just synchronicity just was not happening. And so, yeah, all right, we just had to have the right time for it. But I know there's like multiple things I was going to talk about with this whole video game aspect. But right now, when first starting off this whole thing, the only thing I can think of is just don't take it seriously. It's a video game. Have fun with it. Kind of simplistic. Kind of taking it this grand topic I was going to talk about and boiling it down to the main point, basically.
Yeah. So another interesting
Mhm,
thought about this, living your life as it is a game, is the obviously timelines shifting within now that is
mhm,
happening.
mhm,
Uh, or maybe it's just in my own head, but I feel like we are living yeah,
yeah, simultaneously.
like a parallel timeline.
Yeah. Mhm,
I'm escaping that hard word there. But we are living a couple of timelines at the same time, and we are shifting between them, and the people who are around us is not following every timeline. So I ended up a
mhm,
conversation with my husband yesterday, and I said like, well, I remember when you stand behind the other house on the property here, and he was like chopping wood or something, and he said, no, that's in your mind, that has never happened. And I have a very, very clear vision of him doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
that is, to me, just the latest example about that we are actually shifting the timelines, and it's very hard not to take it as a game because
Mm-hmm.
this is obviously something like, oh, you stepped into door number one, and there's a new scene and new characters, and it didn't work out, so I go back to the next door and ended up together on another timeline with the same people doing other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
is that
Mm-hmm.
something that is actually taking place, do you believe?
Yeah, because like we're all life is getting more fluid, if you will, or more
Mm.
interchangeable. Like a while ago, timelines were very set, if you will. Like it was kind of hard to really shift. It kind of took a while, if you will. But now the frequencies are getting so high that you can just jump, jump, jump because everything's just a little bit more not on edge. That's not the right wording for it, but it's just more there's more play, if you will, within the timelines where you can kind of uh, be with somebody and they are experiencing their own version of it and you're experiencing yours. And so, yeah, the memories aren't quite lining up, but you're still both like experiencing the same kind of uh, area. It's the same kind of stuff, but different memories of it. Um, so, yeah, it's just a lot more fluid, jumping back and forth between things.
So another question now that when you are explaining it is that if the time is more fluid right now, I mean, if we go back in time, we had this, this conscious choice of meditating, living the virtues, and we have a path that we wanted. We had in our vision that we wanted to move through, and if the time now is speeding up, so there is not so much time in the actually sequence shift for people to plan ahead
Mhm,
what they are going to meditate about, but how they are going to react in certain
mhm,
events and so on. So is this like the end test for us to see if we actually got the lesson, got the lesson right, or
yeah, basically, it's kind of like you've right now because the timeline is happening so quickly, your manifestations are happening more quickly, and therefore it's like kind of basically saying, well, be careful what you manifest because it's going to happen more intensely and faster to you. Therefore, it's kind of the test of, oh, well, did you get your mental state in the proper place for you not to be manifesting crazy things that you don't want to be happening in your life? So it's like, oh, well, have you really settled down? Have you kind of cleared out your demons? Have you, kind of washed away some of the traumas that you had that are creating these negative events for you? And so, yeah, it's kind of just being more abrupt and in your face that, oh, I didn't complete that lesson because something manifested just immediately after I thought of this negative thing or had this negative thing come up. So it's like, oh, yeah, it's the lessons are just happening faster and faster, and the universe is kind of reflecting your energy faster and faster. It's just more abruptly. And so it's kind of the accelerated learning school now, whereas before you had a little bit of time before stuff kind of got to you, and therefore you can, had some breathing room, so to speak, with it. But now there's less and less breathing room between your lessons.
mm. I just got a picture flying right through my mind. It was a chess game, and this lyric said that it's a game changer right now, and there was some other entity sitting on the other side, speeding up the time on the chessboard. Click, click,
Mm-hmm.
click, click. So
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, so there have added characters to our own game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else is playing
Yes.
along with us, speeding up
Yes.
our
Oh,
minds
yes,
or whatever.
definitely.
Could it be
Yeah,
so?
I could definitely see that. Yeah, I could definitely see it to where it's like beginner level chess, there is no time things anymore. You're kind of just going at your own pace and all that type of stuff. And then like that next level advanced, you have the time. And therefore you have like 5 minutes on the clock or whatever for your whole thing and going. And then now it's like, oh, we're only have like 1 minute on your clock now. It's now we're
Mhm.
going into the expert and advanced. So yeah, that's a next level of stuff.
So that's interesting. So how would you recommend that we are, acting in our ordinary lives today? Are we going to explore our lives and still playing out as it is a ongoing game, or should we implement some spiritual virtues, or how should we act now? Because it's crazy time. So
Yeah, yeah.
so please tell
Oh, that's
us,
very true.
how should we
Yeah,
act?
yeah. Well, I think the I don't know, most easiest answer to do that, but most cliche, I would say, is following your heart, following the thing that gives you most excitement. So the tools that help you the most, the ones that you feel most attached to, are the tools that are going to be the most effective. So if you feel like meditating is what I've been told to do over and over again, that's supposed to help me and all that stuff, but you're not really feeling it, then don't waste your time on it because time is getting faster and faster. Therefore, you have less time to be wasting on stuff. and so yeah, you kind of choose what you want to do with true intent, true feeling, and kind of feel out stuff that you can, yeah, like that's not feeling right, and immediately drop it. Don't try to go too hard into it or too far because we think that is the way to go. Whatever, it's all about feeling, all about excitement. What are you truly drawn to right now?
So what you practically say are that don't hold on to the old beliefs, find your own quest
Mm-hmm.
of truth seeking or moving on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because now in this, wobbling time right now, where is so much impression taking place, there are so much going on within the different countries, between cultures, and you don't know how to sort everything out. And there are always this, how should I say, people are so easily offended right now. It's like
Yeah.
they want to hold on to if this, black and white, and totally neglect all the colors that are in between. So
Mm-hmm.
I lost the thread.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of like
Mm,
collective culture issue, or not collective culture, collective consciousness
mm,
cleansing, if you will. A lot of the collective consciousness is still somewhat holding on to the victim mentality that we've kind of gone through for the thousands of years. There's kind of something bad is always going to happen, and so I have to kind of protect myself and the victim of like, oh, I'm, bad stuff happened to me, and therefore that's what you always go towards. So it's kind of right now is the culmination of that victim mentality and the collective consciousness that's trying to be cleansed out. And so it needs to come to the surface and get right up in our face for us to understand it, to, face it, and then to be able to let it go.
well said. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that brings us to the next level, that because now when you said that what you just did say is that um, this feelings that we are feeling right now, it's so easy to embrace. So if you are on a good vibration, you probably will explode in laughter and harmony, and the all the feelings that are connected to a lighter path. And that doesn't mean that everything is unicorns and drawn hearts, but there is a certain vibration. But that goes also for the other part. When people get stuck in this victimhood, they seem to be energized in a different way, or we as a human collective are energized in so in some type of different way right now. So every feeling that we are or every emotion that we get is amplified into a rapid burst out of energies and torn away. So yeah, you were going to say,
Yeah, well, it's basically like a somewhat example or like a thing is like before feelings would be like a small fire, just
mm,
a tiny little thing, right? A small fire. But now the energy has amplified. So now the kind of space that the fire is in is kind of more, what is it like, has like more oxygen basically in it. Therefore, the fire burns hotter and bigger, easier. And so it's like the environment that the smaller flame was in, kind of like the normal environment room. But now it's like the room is amplified to have more fire in it, if you will. It's just will fuel the fire more, basically, just more fuel for the fire, I should say. Yeah.
mm.
And so yeah, it used to be a small fire, and now it's easier for that fire to get bigger.
But that is also part of the not plane, plan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
So
yeah, plan out, yeah, and play, cause yeah,
yeah, because if we
yeah,
are
you can
feeling
play.
these emotions and just pushing it towards the either direction, we will end up further and further apart from each other.
Yes, yeah, and those would be going to different timelines and different experiences and all that stuff, and it's kind of the thing that we've been doing for since the ascension process began.
Yeah.
It's just kind of slowly moving further and further apart from frequencies that are not attuned to ours. And so yeah, it's just amplifying and speeding up, and now we're like really separating faster and faster and faster. And so yeah, um, yeah, definitely amping up. you know.
Mm. So that is the end game.
Yeah, the end game is to get to a timeline where the frequencies are so in tune with yourself that you're never going to encounter another person that has a frequency that will conflict with yours. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, we're all in harmony. Yeah.
But is everything so perfectly normalized on on another frequency or dimension, or because the ultimate change is here that we are moving in from this dimension into another frequency and dimension. So if we climbing up to the next level, there are so many entities that are maybe what we wouldn't call for all this, love, light, and understanding, um, that are in those timelines in another dimension too.
Mhm. Yes, yeah, it's you can get into multi-dimensional kind of higher dimensional planes, and yeah, you're going to encounter beings and stuff that aren't perfectly harmonized with one another and on our same thing. But once you get to a certain level of frequency and kind of consciousness and stuff like that, then it kind of all becomes a little. Most of them are good, if you will, like have a high frequency and all that type of stuff. Because the higher frequency you get, the closer to source you are, and source is inherently good, unconditional love and such. So uh, at a certain point, all those negative stuff. So, um,
We
yeah,
lost contact there. There you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, my phone's doing weird things. um, but yeah, the higher in frequencies you go, the closer to source you are, and therefore the less negative entities you're going to encounter. And so yeah, there are still going to be some on those next level stuff, but it's going to be less of them, and it's going to be harder for them to affect us because we're at a higher frequency. Therefore, we might interact with them, but they're not going to be able to take over our energy as like they would in this dimension or this lower
Mm.
areas. Yeah.
So back to living our life as it were a game.
Mm.
Should we? Now, how should we proceed?
Yeah, well, part of like this whole like craziness that's happening now, like the intensifying all that, even though it might seem like too much or overwhelming and stuff like that, it is something that we kind of signed up for, if you will, because and like the negative people as well. When we go and play, or we kind of go to play, uh, you can choose what type of life you're wanting to do or what type of character you want to be, and so some people choose to be the hero, some people choose to be the villain, and that's their choice. They wanted to play that. So, like the how Bashar would say is like when kids are in the playground playing, some of them choose to be the cops, some of them choose to be the robber, and that's perfectly fine. That's just a mask that they're putting on to go and play when they're out doing it. But as soon as the parents or the mom says, "Right, come in for lunch," they take off their mask and now they're just two people having lunch together, or having a meal together. And so it's yeah, even though it seems like crazy negative people, we can't, everybody on that type of stuff. Everybody's just having a mask on right now. They're playing a character, they're playing a thing. And so eventually when we all leave this earthly plane, it's all kind of coming back to, oh, we're just beings, we're just consciousness. And we kind of take off
So the
that.
purpose of playing this game is to see that under the mask another human being of flesh and blood, like just like you, on the same path. So
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, and then on
layers
the
with
next
this
level,
game.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of layers. Yeah, and that's what Source is. It kind of builds onto itself and tries to have every experience possible.
Yeah. So of course everything is speeding up, and we are closing in on September 9, and that is Portal.
Yes,
So
yeah, the 9
yeah,
plus.
and
Mm-hmm.
9 is the reset, the last cycle before it starts over again within another cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
So
the completion.
the
Yeah, so
completion.
it's when you're completing. Yeah, if you complete, it's the ending of that cycle and the start of a new. It's also the last number and the single digits, which means that it's the most wise. It's kind of the highest level, if you will. So it's completing at the highest level, completion at its highest level. So it's 9 can symbolize like wisdom. It can also symbolize selflessness. It can symbolize a whole bunch of other different stuff, but the kind of the main one is the completion, completion of cycles, completion of lessons, completion of different experiences or events, type of stuff. And so with this one is a little bit more intense because it's going to be 9 9, and then our year, which is 2025, equals 9. So it's 999, and so three
That's
numbers is the
right.
master number you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit more intense, and therefore it's a little bit more of a grander scale of completion, a grander scale of cycle ending and a new one starting.
Because I look upon this as a clockwork, like the Mayan calendar, who has this circle within the
Mm-hmm,
circle and the timeline within another timeline, and
mm-hmm,
the wheels are connected with each other within another wheel, who is connecting with an outer wheel, and so on.
mm-hmm,
So my question is now that we have like the nine represent the last before the reset. Is that something that is going through every dimension? So it's like a cosmic thing, or is it just connected to our dimension?
yeah, I would say it's not every dimension, I would say, but it's going to definitely be within the closest ones to us. So it'd be the, third, fourth, and probably fifth that's going to be having some type of completion. Once you get into the higher dimensions over there, then it kind of becomes timeless, and therefore there is no real true cycles anymore.
Mm.
And so yeah, it becomes a little bit less of like happening through all of it, just more of the closest ones to us. But so if there's a grander scale, universal, if you will, all the universe having this, completion. But, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
But totally,
Yeah.
totally understandable if you're looking upon this clockwork with all these, circles that are moving and interacting with the closest circles and keep starting
Mm-hmm.
on. So, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
No, it's okay. Well, yeah, and I actually love the actually how you write the numbers can also just be like the it's indicator of the symbolization. And so when you're writing a nine, it's, a circle, and then you go down, right? And so if you think it's like the cycle, and then you finish the cycle, the symbolism of that. And so it's the symbolism is built into the actual writing of it, and it goes the same with most of the other numbers. When you write it a certain way, it kind of is an obvious symbolization of that thing, which is just kind of the more integrated levels of like consciousness and information and all that stuff. That is all kind of it has such deep. I don't know what's the word, like so meaningful. Like having nine, it's meaningful to be written that way. It has deeper meaning to it, not just oh, it looks nice. There's something more to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting, actually. Never thought of it. But when you say it,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, definitely. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's a circle and yeah, in completion of it. Interesting. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so this portal, I guess it has something significant to offer us, or what's happening?
Yeah, it's basically offering us the energy to kind of start anew. And so if we want to end a cycle of abuse or negativity or kind of anything that's happening in your reality, this 99 portal can give you the energy to kind of end it, even if it might not. Basically, like it can finish stuff faster for you, even if you like you sometimes need it to take longer and stuff like that to have it more meaning. But right now it's kind of like, well, if you really want it over with, we're giving you the energy to be over, and then you can just start anew. So that type of thing. Also, 99 is the other stuff too. It's not just about the cycles ending and the completion. It's also about the wisdom. It's also about the last number in single digits, which is like the highest level of consciousness. And so it's kind of also offering you that kind of a boost of wisdom, boost of your consciousness and frequency and all that type of stuff. So it's a booster as well as the energy of completion.
So this will go on to like January next year, or
So the portal itself will basically just kind of last within the, you know, 8, 9, and 10, because the energy are going to start, within the 8, and then it'll build up on 9, 9, and then kind of fade away on the 10. So technically, the portal itself, the 9, 9 portal, is only within, those like 3 day right there. But the completion, you could be setting up for something to be completed that would happen later on. And so it's giving you the energy to complete something if you want it completed, but it's not going to like instantly completed on that day or something. It's on a more individual level of like what you're trying to get out of this energy.
so it's not an instant fix right on the September
Yeah,
9th. No, we
yeah,
have,
yeah.
we
No,
still have to
no,
work for it. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well,
Still have
that's
to work for it.
interesting. So,
Mm-hmm,
since we are ending a circle, I would like to think that we've been talking about this a couple of years ago too, that everything is moving in cycles. So when
mm-hmm,
you can feel that some things are repeating itself after a couple of years. So
mm-hmm,
I guess that this portal also brings in the ending of a long cycle, years maybe,
mm-hmm,
or whatever it's
mm-hmm,
symbolizing, and open up for something new. So, in this, so to speak, time shift or time split, and because basically we are, I guess we're all feeling it like we are getting separated more and more and more, and we have this void of
Mhm,
energy just laying there, and we all have one foot stuck in the gray
mhm,
area, and
yeah,
so something is definitely taking place here. So what are we moving into? What can we expect from the next cycle?
mhm. Yeah.
Big
Well,
question.
I'd say, yeah, I'd say more and more chaos, honestly, because we need not need, but
Yeah,
it's
but
it's
don't
already
hold it
chaotic
back,
enough.
Cody.
But yeah, yeah, but it's kind of like a lot of the stuff that the collective consciousness needs to get over needs to come to the forefront, like victimhood stuff happening. And so it's going to be more and more of that type of stuff to where all the hidden kind of messy stuff that we haven't cleaned out yet is coming to the surface more and more and faster. And so it's going to be much more chaotic, and people are going to have to really learn fast, and kind of come together more and more as they've seen the lesson they need to learn and learned it, and then they can kind of utilize that information going on. So yeah, it's a lot of the collective consciousness kind of trying to clear out its old garbage, if you will, all of its past traumas and all that type of stuff. So this next cycle is definitely going to be even though we have been cleansing for a while, it's just going to be a deeper cleansing with a lot of stuff that we've been kind of avoiding and looking away from coming up.
Mm. So it's like a cosmic intervention. Like if you
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
done
basically.
your work, we will do it for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. Yeah,
That's so
yeah,
funny.
that's
But I can't help thinking that, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the portal nine here or this magical number nine. I do like the number nine, but we everybody knows that there is something entering our cosmic realms or cosmic border into our
mm-hmm.
universe here. And we don't know what it is. And this is also so fun. I just have to say this. Everybody, there's so many people are writing, oh, it's negative entities and they are here to destroy us. And we don't know what it is yet because no one has seen it. So how do we know that they are hostile? But beside that, something is actually entering. So even if it's not a UFO, it could be like a preparation, a build up until we actually see a UFO because most people are talking about this event that something is entering our, uh, how do you say it? Our space, universal
Our
space.
solar system, our in our orbit. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's going to pass Earth, and maybe we will not be able to see it with our visual eyes, but we will definitely know through social media, etc., that it's entering our orbits here and moving past Earth, if it's still continue on its way. So no matter what it is, there is a conversation taking place. There are some question marks that people are struggling with right now. We are opening up for the possibility that it actually is a UFO that is entering our orbit. And is that a connection? Is that a separate event that has nothing to do with this cycle of nine, or is it actually something that is cosmically planned to play out right now?
I would say if there is any correlation, it would be maybe not coincidence, but it'd be like uh, happy circumstance, no, not circumstance, but basically like it might not initially have been for the ninth cycle, but because it's the ninth cycle and we're finishing and starting anew, it's just a happy coincidence that this thing is happening, and therefore it's kind of starting this whole next, kind of topic of extraterrestrials and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it's happy coincidence or happy circumstance.
Okay, so how long is it since the other one was passing our solar system? The
You mean the
yeah,
one
the
that started with
crazy
the O?
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was 2017, I think.
Yeah, so it's not
Oh no,
9 years,
yeah, it's not 9 years. No, I don't think
but it's
so.
close. It's eight, maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think so. Wait, 7,
Hmm.
3, 5. Yeah, well, by the time that the object gets close enough, to us, it might be by the end of the year, and so that would be in 6, and therefore be 9. But
Hmm.
yeah, it
And
definitely
that is
could have
just a
been
couple
like,
of weeks from now. That
yeah.
is,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is such a exciting time to be in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you see? I can't let it go now, Cody. What do you think it is?
uh, I'm not sure. I haven't. For some reason, I'm just thinking of the other one with the crazy name, and I know that one was has a lot of conspiracies around it. So this one's going to have a ton of conspiracies around it. But there's a lot of being civilizations out there that send these type of objects into solar systems as probes, to kind of test energies or kind of monitor things and all that type of stuff. So it definitely could be that, or it just could be an a rock that came off of a planet or something, or just a traveling asteroid or something. So there's many things it could be. I don't think I've really looked too deep into it, so I can't really comment too much on it. Um, I'd have to do a little bit more research to have a confident answer.
No, uh, but it's still a quite fun subject to talk
Yeah,
about. Uh,
yeah.
a lot of the
Mhm,
conversations that I hear around me from people is like, why would it be a UFO? Because why would they be interested in a small Earth and our solar system? And I think like, well, because we're sending out a lot of stuff into the space and telling everybody that we are the third planet from the sun and we are humans and we give away our DNA code. So yeah, why not? Um,
mhm,
but yeah, I think I think, as you said, that there has been probably a lot of things going around our planet before, but we
mhm,
haven't noticed them or
mhm.
just ignore them for
Yeah.
some reason. So
Yeah, like if it's highly unlikely that it's like the UFO with actual beings still on it and all that stuff, because if it's traveling that slow to where it's taking a while to get to our thing, then that's not a UFO, because UFOs have greater technology than that, to where they,
yeah,
most of them don't travel the conventional way, of like propulsion and all that stuff. They change frequencies. That's the thing. They tune into a frequency of space and time and then instantly teleport to it. There is no real
yeah.
travel to it, you know. And so would be very unlikely, or very, just not logical to travel through space that slowly,
No, I was actually thinking about that the other day. Why is it taking so long time for it to travel, even though it's moving
Mhm,
in a very high speed, as they say? But
mhm,
but if we are having these time jumps, teleporting and stuff that you just described. So why is it going to be that obvious unless it wants
mhm,
us to start, open up our mind, speculate
mhm,
about what it could be, and just open up
mhm,
for the actual fact that there could be life out there, and
mhm.
embrace it, and yeah, basically a
Yeah,
next step into the next reality.
yeah, it's getting the conversation going within the greater populace, type of thing, when some of the other conversations are happening in small groups that are a little bit more advanced, but it's just getting the topic out there basically at a kind of on a grander scale, because it is such a big object coming towards us. It kind of becomes more,
Hmm.
uh, you know, like you say, it's so obvious that we have to talk about it, have to notice it. Um,
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
we already have people here, like in your government for, 40, 50 years ago, Tor Valiant.
mhm, mhm.
He was
Oh
a someone they said come from another dimension. So he was an
yeah.
extraterrestrial. So
Yep.
obviously the connection and interaction with human beings are already taking place and has been for quite a long
Oh,
time.
oh yes, yeah. There's paintings of UFOs have from like the 1700s or
Yeah.
more. So it's like they've been around for a while, you know. And yeah, I can definitely go into that. But Bashar would say that the open contact where we actually have like a true, almost like face-to-face conversation is probably going to be happening towards the end of 2027, which is quite recent or quite soon if you think of it on that scale. But again, it's more up to our collective consciousness on are we ready for it? Because extraterrestrials are engaging our energy to see if we're gonna like freak out or not, you know. And
Mm.
and it's gonna be like small little thing. It's not gonna be, you know, the UFO landing on the White House lawn, you know, thing. It's gonna be like small introductions and with more and more people being there type of stuff. It's not gonna be this grand event. It's gonna be a slow build up, you
Yeah, and this is not the first time you say that in your mind we will be more interacting with these entities in the end of or during 2027, and I have been, holding on to that we will have our probably first UFO contact in like this year, in the end of this year, and now this beautiful thing called Atlas is entering our solar system, and no matter what it is, it's still there interacting with our minds, so
know.
to speak, that we are reflecting upon what it could be. Either it's a UFO
Hmm.
or it's something other thing just moving along, not crashing
Hmm.
into any stars or anything. So it's obviously some form of, you know, controlled thing. Otherwise, that is such a beautiful vision too. I was like, oh, they have made this path that is going to take and is going to pass um, Mars on a very close level. I think it was Mars, between Mars and Earth. And when they draw this line, it was like it was almost on the collision course, but it didn't smash into Mars. And I was like, well, that is our solar system, but if this thing is coming in a high speed and missing every big planet on the way, it has to be controlled in somewhat, right?
It could, yeah, that, but there's also the fact that space is really big, you know. So it's like even if it's like a really large object, the chances that it does hit something is actually fairly low because of how fast all the other objects are moving within space and how small they are comparative to the size of like how far it needs to travel. And
Mm,
so it's like doing the line, you know, on a graph where you have the planets, all that type of stuff. It's just not to scale, you know. If it was
no.
to scale, then it would be like really, just because we think of, you know, space as actually being fairly close because you see the pictures of planets that are, you know, big and all that type of stuff, but technically they're just tiny little dots out there, tiny little things, you know. So
Yeah,
like the scale of the universe is quite large. So it's,
but it's still moving out there,
yeah,
and it's moving very fast,
but
obviously. And in that speed,
yeah,
it should be able to crash into something someday, or
yeah,
should
it's something
already
someday,
have
yes.
crashed into something. So, if this is taking place from 2025 to 2027, we are going to play with the prophecy now,
Mm-hmm.
Cody's
Mm-hmm.
prophecy. Um, but why, not why, but what exactly, or not exactly, what do you think will happen on Earth during 2025 to 2027? Because you already gave away that next circle or cycle is going to be a little bit more chaotic, chaotic
Yeah,
than before.
chaotic.
Yeah, chaotic. Thank you.
Mhm.
And um, yeah, it's not time to relax. Either
Mhm.
it's the reality, the physical world we're living in, or if it's our emotional well-being, so it's not time to relax. So how do we, prepare ourselves and buckle up? We do need to have some safe space to be emotionally, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
So what should we do? How should we prepare ourselves for this chaotic time that is obviously going to escalate?
Mhm. Yeah, so it would be a lot of self in uh, inquiries, or not self inquiries, but
Yeah, I'm not
looking
talking
deeper at
about,
yourself.
with hoarder food or any of
Yeah.
those doom things. It's not that. It's
Mhm.
more like how should we, take care of our minds,
Mhm.
navigate? How should we
Exactly.
navigate?
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, it's kind of understanding how you react in certain situations. And so that would kind of give you the biggest clue of what you need to do. Is some people have really large reactions to anything small happening. And so they are going to need a little bit more shielding, if you will, which would be kind of more, not avoidance, but kind of focusing in on the stuff happening right in front of you rather than kind of seeing the big picture and kind of looking up what's happening in another part of the world, stuff like that. It's kind of separating yourself from the global, chaos and stuff like that, and focusing on just your local, city, just like or your kind of local space. And because it's when you get too big and like the global stuff, it becomes too overwhelming. Therefore, you react a little bit more intensely. And so some things you can avoid because it will affect you, but so you have to be aware of that. But again, it's kind of just focusing on what you can do instead of focusing on the stuff that's rather big and you can't really do. And so it's limiting your, uh, not response, but again, it sounds just simple, but just do what you can do. Don't try to be too big with it. Um, and yeah, a lot of shielding, a lot of just mental stability, that type of stuff. Yeah.
So kind of looping back to what you said earlier in the beginning, just following what's close to your heart or what your heart tells you to do. So
Yeah,
we don't
exactly.
have to go out and do mess events if the heart
Mm-hmm.
says that you can do something else, maybe.
Exactly. So yeah, yeah, it's kind of like like I always go to Bashar stuff, but his way of doing anything is following your excitement to the best ability, without any insistence or assumptions that it should happen that way, a certain way. And so it's kind of the formula of manifesting and creating and all that type of stuff. And so when something crazy big, happening, it's following your excitement. What is the thing that is moving you? You're most drawn to, and if it's just hunkering down and kind of you know not really interacting with anything and all that type of stuff, then that's your excitement because you feel safe there. If it's going out and protesting or doing some, big stuff, then that's what your heart is telling you to do. That's what excitement is telling you to do.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So
it's
basically
yeah, following
following
it,
the
doing your
character in the Sims game, following the character that you are
mm,
looking
yeah,
upon it as an objective with an objective view and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
follow through
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, and yeah, follow through with your excitement. And again, like the first thing is just not taking it too seriously. When you take it too seriously, it kind of becomes overwhelming and becomes too heavy, And
mm,
so with all the chaos, if you're already too heavy and too serious about everything, it's just going to make everything more intense. And so lighten yourself up. Say that, yeah, it's chaotic and crazy, but this is the game I signed up for. This is, why I incarnated. And so it's, yeah, having that play, having that kind of lightheartedness with it.
I do believe that a lot of light worker or spiritual awakening people are actually question that remark. Did I really sign up for this? But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. So
yeah.
back to the portal here, the number of 9. Do is there anything else we should bring into our perspective?
Um, hmm. So I would say it's kind of which is an interesting thing with numerology. This year is nine, next year is 2026, which is 10 when you add it up, which would be just one. Therefore, just numerology, it's like, yeah, the years are lining up perfectly with it. Sometimes the years don't add up to where it's like the one number goes into, like it's three one year, three, then like four the next year, five. It doesn't really do that sometimes. But this time, it's quite synchronistic that this year is nine and then next year is a one. And so it is kind of that ultimate, like, yeah, we truly are going into this next cycle, not just individually, but cosmically. It's like this whole thing aligned perfectly so that it is definitely a huge new cycle starting, new things happening. And so, yeah, and just with this portal, it's kind of accepting that energy of starting anew, and kind of feeling kind of looking at yourself. What do you feel like is old energy that you want to get rid of? What is something that you want to explore next? And so it's kind of a time to really look inward into what you really want to do with life, what you really, what is needed right now, what are you excited about, what is, the things that you want to explore. You know?
Because some other aspect of this number nine is, for me, it's like a very lovable number. I think it's representing a lot
Mm-hmm.
of, changes, of course, but positively changes. It's like the loving aspect of, you know, trying to, yeah, well, maybe that is what you said before, straighten things up, and
Mm-hmm.
develop it into the way that you want it to be, follow through,
Mm-hmm.
follow your heart's desire. So maybe it's just what you said earlier. Yeah, could be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when we talk about these cycles and stuff like that, like some people can go negative with it, to where it's like, oh, it's something new, scary, type of stuff. But a lot of the times these cycles happen to bring something better into life, to enhance it, to go to that next level, and therefore it is a positive thing overall.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So next year we are moving into the number one, and it's also a 10, uh, and you reduce to zero and you get one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Mm-hmm.
slightly energy shift within 10 or 1. 1 is so a little bit harder than 10. 10 is more embracing another energy, more softer energy. So when we are shifting in from 9 to 10th, is that a, well, obviously it will drive this split further apart. So then maybe that is why there are harder energy in 1 than in 10.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Well, it's like when you think of it, one is starting from kind of nothing. You're just starting. It's starting the momentum, and usually starting the momentum is the hardest thing, rather than having the momentum keep going. And so 10 is like, oh, you've already had that momentum going. You've already been through, all of the numbers. 9 and 10 is kind of just that next level. It's kind of continuing on, but something new. And so it has that momentum behind it. Therefore, it's easier and softer to deal with. Whereas one, you kind of have to put a little bit more effort and energy into. I feel.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So is there anything that we have missed?
Um,
Something you want to
no,
address?
not exactly. Yeah, no, I think we somewhat covered a lot, but I know that there's stuff I probably wanted to talk about with the video game stuff, but my mind has been so all over the place lately that I like can't focus it in. Yeah, but I think we kind of covered a lot. It's good.
So there was more you wanted to add to this game?
Well, there probably was, but I have no clue what that stuff would be, and it would be such small stuff that it'd be just like a small comment here or there, whatever, about gaming in general. Yeah, so it's not a big thing. I think I was thinking about something like the board games can still be, just as intense or just as simulation as video games. It's like you're still the person and third player controlling the little objects on the board game or like the game of life, that type of stuff.
Uh,
Sort of, you know, little comments like that, not big stuff.
well, that's good to know. Do you want to do a meditation? Healing? Sending healing?
Yeah, actually, yeah, the crystal that I have is lapis lazuli.
Oh,
It's
that
just
is a good
the
one. That is the healing
yeah,
stone.
uh, mhm. Yeah, I just got it, and so it's kind of a new energy to me as well. I don't really have much lapis lazuli in my collection, and so like this is a good one. And when I picked it up, it was really powerful, really strong, and so hope it'll be good.
Yeah, when you gaze into that lapis
Mhm,
stone, it's almost like looking into a cosmic universe within that stone.
mhm.
So it's
Yeah, right.
quite
Mhm,
of symbolic to what's actually is out there in the physical universe. There's something
mhm,
magical taking place. Oh, well,
mhm, mhm. So, for those that don't know, I'm going to be sending some energy from the crystal to you. If you want it, just verbally or mentally say, "I accept the energy." If you don't, it won't touch you. Yeah, I, nice, short and sweet energy.
well, thank you. Did you get any messages or visions?
Uh, not vision. It was more. It was definitely working more with my body. I think my body has been hurting a lot, and so it was kind of stretching it out and doing something really weird with my pinky. I don't know what it was. It's energy. It was my pinky, but yeah.
Uh, it was a very soft energy, moving
Mm-hmm.
a lot around and the nose area, and then sinus and you know, inside my hand. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the most beautiful was that I saw a glowing row of light just in the not in the space, just it was just, you know, this dark color of the stone, and then there was a line with glowing dots within. I have no idea
Yeah.
where they come from, and maybe it's something that is connected to what we talked about. Otherwise, there is something energetically like a sphere of
Mm-hmm.
light.
Yeah. Well, that light literally is within lapis lazuli, where you have the blue, and then there's lines of what kind of look like gold
Yeah.
spots. And so yeah, it's literally just like a line uh, of light within the blue sphere. So definitely connected.
Okay, so that was the energy from the stone. Maybe I picked up.
Yeah, and definitely.
Oh, well, very beautiful, very very beautiful stone, indeed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
It's crazy that there's so much lapis lazuli in the past, but it just got broken up to be paint and dyes. Because that's where the first blue color and painting came from. It's just breaking up stone of lapis lazuli to get paint.
Yeah, I read
Mhm.
read that somewhere. Sometimes
Mhm.
used a lot of
Yeah.
different ways to get colors for our modern
Mhm.
day.
Yep.
Probably
Yeah.
wasn't as easy to paint pictures in the back in the
Yeah.
days, so it's
Oh
so
yeah.
much easier today.
Mhm.
Oh. Well, it was a very beautiful energy, and I think we covered a lot of questions and things about what's actually taking place here, and to be
Mhm.
aware that this is the time to revalue what you want to continue with and what you want to let go, and you get this cosmic push to do so. Is that a correct
Mhm.
summary, or how do you want to
Yeah.
close it up?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I think that's worded perfectly. Reevaluate what you want to be doing, and then if you're because this energy is here now, it's giving you that push to be able to really accomplish that stuff. Yeah.
Mm. Beautiful, beautiful. So we are going to close down here, and I want to say thank you so much for your time and insight. It's very valuable, and it's so good to have someone to ask a question in real life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Uh,
thank you for having me. It's always fun.
that's good to hear, and we will be back with some more chat here in the near future. We have so much to talk about now when Atlas is closing in. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
not giving away any topics, but yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So thank you once again, Cody. Final words.
Yeah. I always like to end with flow with love.
Go with love. Yeah. And yeah, take care, everybody. And thank you for being here. And we will definitely be back here talking about something new in the near future. So thank you for listening and have a nice day. Bye
Yeah.
bye.